Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinath Radhe Jaya Banu Nandani Shri Krishna Banu Nandani Jaya Shri Krishna Banu Nandani Shri Krishna Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Srila Gurudev Nitai Gaura Haribol Gaura Haribol Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Haribol Gaura Haribol Kalika Bhavan Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Radhashtami ki jai, Srimati Radharani ki jai, Shri Radhashtami Sundar Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Krishna will have
Harisha, Radhika Priya,
Radhika
please.
Priya and now. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to serve all of you. I'll be reciting the Shri Shri Radha Kripa Kataksha Stava Raja, which was originally spoken by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. This can be found in the Udvamnya Tantra. Please bless me so that I can recite this wonderful stava in a manner pleasing the Lordships and their dear devotees. मुनीन्द्रवृन्दवन्दिते त्रिलोकशोकहारिणि प्रसन्नवक्त्रपङ्कजे निकुञ्जभुविलासिनि व्रजेन्द्रभानुनन्दिनि व्रजेन्द्रसूनुसङ्कटे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अशोकवृक्षवल्लरिवेदानमण्डपस्थिते प्रवालवालपल्लव प्रभारुणाङ्घ्रिकोमले वराभयस्फुरत्करे प्रभूतसम्पदालये कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनङ्गरङ्गमङ्गलाप्रसङ्गपङ्कुराप्रुवं सविभ्रमं ससम्भ्रमं त्रिगन्तबाणपातने निरन्तरं वशीकृता प्रीतीति नन्दनन्दने कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं तदेत्सुवर्णचम्पका प्रदीप्तगौरविग्रहे मुखाप्रभापराष्टकोटि शारदेन्दुमण्डले विचित्रचित्रसञ्चर चकोरशावलोचने कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं मदोन्मदाति यौवने प्रमोदमानमण्डिते प्रियानुरागरञ्जिते कलाविलासपण्डिते अनन्यधन्यकुञ्जराजकामकेलिकोविदे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् शेषहावभावधीरहीरहारभूषिते प्रभूतशातकुम्भकुम्भकुम्भिकुम्भसुस्तनि प्रशष्टमण्डहास्यचूर्णपूर्णसौख्यसागरे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं मृणालवालवल्लरी लताग्रलस्य लोलनि लोचनावलोकने ललालुलन्मिलन्मनोज्ञमुग्धमोहनाश्रिते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं सुवर्णमल्लिकञ्चित त्रिरेखकम्बुकण्ठगे त्रिसूत्रमङ्गले गुणा त्रिरत्नदीप्तिदीदिति सलोलनीलकुण्ठला प्रसूनगोचगुम्फिते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं निताम्बबिम्बलम्बमानपुष्पमेखलागुने प्रशष्टरत्नकिङ्किणि कलापमध्यमञ्जुले करीन्द्रशुण्डदण्डिकापरोहसोपगौरुके कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनेकमन्त्रणाडमञ्जुनूपुरारवस्कल समाजराजहंसवंशने वनाति गौरवे विलोलहेमवल्लरी विधाम्बिचारुचङ्क्रमे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनन्तकोटिविष्णुलोकनाम्रपद्मचार्चिते हिमाद्रिजा पुलोमजा विरिञ्चिजावराप्रदे अपार सिद्धिरितितीर्थसत्पदाङ्गुलीनके कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं मखेश्वरी क्रियेश्वरी स्वदेश्वरी सुरेश्वरी त्रिवेद भारतीश्वरि प्रमाण शासनेश्वरि रमेश्वरि क्षमेश्वरि प्रमोद काननेश्वरि व्रजेश्वरि व्रजाधिवेशि राधिके नमोस्तुते इति मम अद्भुतं स्तवं निशम्य भानुनन्दिनि करोतु सन्ततं जनं कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं भवेत् दैव सञ्चिता त्रिरूपकार्मनाशनं भवेत् तदा व्रजेन्द्रसूनुमण्डलप्रवेशनं राखयं चाशितास्तं यां दशम्यां च विशुदधिः एकदशं त्रयोदशं यः पठेत् साधकासुधिः यं यं कामयते कामं तं तमाप्नोति साधका राधा कृपा कटाक्षेण भक्तिस्य प्रेमलक्षण उरुदग्नेनापि दग्निरिदग्ने कण्ठदाग्नाके राधा कुण्डजले स्थिता यः पठेत् साधकाशतं तस्य सर्वर्थसिद्धिः स्यात् वाक्समर्थं तथा लभेत् ऐश्वर्यं च लभेत् साक्षात् शपशति राधिकं तेन सतत्क्षणादेव तुष्टुदते महावरम् येन पश्यति नेत्राभ्यं तत्प्रियं श्यामसुन्दरं नित्यलीलाप्रवेशं च ददति श्रीव्रजाधिपः अतः परात्परं प्रार्थ्यं वैष्णवस्य न विद्यते इति श्रीमदुद्वाम्नये राधिकायाः कृपा कटाक्षस्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्। श्री राधा कृपा कटाक्ष स्तवराज की जय। श्री राधाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय। श्री वैष्णव ठाकुर की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल।
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Radhika Priya, for beautiful chanting of the glories of Srimati Radharani. You have such a melodious, sweet, devotional voice. All glories to your service. Hare Krishna. Thank you. I think we'll now have Tulsi was going to be chanting up until Maharaj joins us at 7 p.m. One request, can everybody hear me or am I audible?
Yes, please, yes, we can hear you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so one request is that Maharaj had when I spoke with His Holiness Giriraj Swami last week is that everybody can have their video on because he would like to see all the devotees when he's giving lecture and having, doing the program. So please, everyone, turn on your video. Just be comfortable and mute yourselves so that when Maharaj speaks, we can hear him. So Tulsi, are you able to go ahead and chant?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Can you turn on your audio, your video?
No, actually.
Okay.
I will. What? No, I'm fine.
Go ahead and chant.
Okay, Prabhu. Or actually, let me try something. Hare Krishna.
Hey, let me ask you. You don't need to.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Messiah Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashadyadishtarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की प्रभुपाद की राधाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे.
Thank you, Tulsi, for chanting very nicely. So, dear devotees, thank you for joining for tonight's program. My name is Jai Sachinanda Das. On behalf of ISKCON Portland, wishing you all a very happy, lovely Radhashtami service. It's my great fortune at this point to introduce our esteemed guest, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. I think all the devotees know about Maharaj and all of his tremendous association and service of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. So I will, just for my own purification, Maharaj, if you allow me, I'll just speak for 1 minute.
All right.
Thank you so much. So Maharaj is a very senior disciple of His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And Maharaj was very sweetly describing to me how he met Srila Prabhupada when we were speaking last week. Maharaj was actually raised in Chicagoland and then joined a very prestigious college in Boston. And in 1969, he had the great fortune to hear Srila Prabhupada. And as you can tell by Maharaj's subsequent 51 years of service, this shows us the example of sincere, rapt hearing, where Maharaj heard and immediately applied in his life. Maharaj graduated from college with the highest honors and then subsequently continued to serve Srila Prabhupada. And we all know the great pastimes in ISKCON opportunities in Bombay, and then Maharaj joined GBC and has served throughout his lifetime so nicely. Maharaj's book a while back, and there's a very nice commentary on the book, particularly the one called Many Moons, where Her Grace Vishaka Mataji says, Srila Prabhupada was extraordinary, so too is the person who follows his teachings as example. And our own fledgling attempts at devotional service can benefit by understanding others' endeavors. So Maharaj embodies this example of very personal care, attention, and dedication to Srila Prabhupada's divine instructions. So Maharaj, sorry for taking up your time. I know devotees are eagerly awaiting hearing from you. We will display the verse as you desire, so just let us know how to proceed.
Yeah, thank you. I'll begin by singing the Mangala Charana prayers, and leading a short kirtan. And then I will speak a little about the appearance of Srimati Radharani. And then I will read tonight's verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh yeah, and I would request that as far as possible, the participants put on their videos so I can see them all and it's more personal. Videos and mute. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Sam Sadivam Sadvaitam Sabdutam Harijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvidam Cha Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Shiva Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Shiva Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki jai.
So, Tapta Kanchana Gaurange, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishavanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. So Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Mother Kirtida strongly desired to have a child. And for whatever reasons, they were not able to conceive a child for a very long time. And to invoke auspiciousness and make special prayers, they moved to a place called Raval, which at the time was situated just next to the Yamuna. So early every morning, Vrishabhanu Maharaj would go and take bath in the Yamuna and offer special prayers. And one morning, after he offered his prayers and took his bath, he saw a very large, beautiful, and effulgent lotus flower. It was multi-petaled. It was said to have been 1,000-petaled lotus flower. and it was very effulgent, just like molten gold. And as he looked at the lotus flower, he saw that on the top of it was lying a small infant. And as he looked closer, he saw that it was a female. So he quickly picked up the child, and he thought that this was the answer to his prayers. He quickly took the child back to his wife Kirtida, and they were beside themselves with joy that they had a child. But at the same time, as they studied the child, they saw that she was not opening her eyes. They thought maybe she was blind. So they were concerned, but they were just overwhelmed with love for the child, and they didn't mind so much about her eyes being closed. So gradually the child grew, and the fame of the child spread widely. And eventually Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda came to know that about the child. And so they wanted to come and visit and see the child. So one day they came, not only Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, but also baby Krishna. When they came, in the presence of Radharani, there are different accounts, but one account is that Mother Yashoda was holding baby Krishna. And at that time, she set him down in the house of Vrishabhanu Maharaj and picked up Radharani. And when she did that, Krishna started to cry, feeling that he was being neglected. You know, why has my mother put me down and picked up this other baby? So when she reached down and picked up Krishna and had both Krishna and Radharani on her lap, as children often do, Krishna reached out, and by chance, he touched the lotus eyes of Srimati Radharani. And as soon as he did that, her eyes fluttered open, and the first thing she saw was none other than Krishna. So this was the reason why her eyes had remained tightly closed. They were meant to open only to have darshan of her beloved Krishna. So this is how she appeared, and this was her first pastime. So now I will read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 2, Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service. Text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Jivan Chavo Bhagavatang Grirenum Na Jatu Martyo Bilabheta Yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya Swasan chavoyas tuna veda gandam. Jivan chavo bhagavatangri renu. Najatu martyo bilabetayastu. Shri Vishnupadya manujastu lasya. Swasan chavoyas tuna veda gandam. Jivan, while living. Shava, a dead body. Bhagavatangri Renu, the dust of the feet of a pure devotee. Na, never. Jatu, at any time. Martya, mortal. Abhilabeta, particularly received. Ya, a person. Tu, but. Shri, with opulence. Vishnu Padya, of the lotus feet of Vishnu. Manuja, a descendant of Manu, a man. Tulasya, the leaves of the tulsi tree. Shvasan, while breathing. Shava, still a dead body. Ya, who. Tu, but. Naveda, never experienced. Gandham, the aroma. Translation. The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the breathing dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, the soul is covered by a gross body made of earth, water, air, fire, and ether, and a subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and ego. Ordinarily, at the time of death, when the soul leaves the body, it leaves behind the gross body, and the subtle body carries it into its next gross body, according to its karma and its the person's thoughts at the time of death. So what is a ghost? A ghost is a living entity who has only a subtle body, but no gross body. And how does one get the body of a ghost? Of course, I'm not recommending it, I'm just explaining. A common way that one gets the body of a ghost is to commit suicide. Because when one commits suicide, in effect, he's saying he doesn't want a gross body anymore. So, all right, the Lord is very kind. You don't have to have a gross body. You just have a subtle body, which is the body of a ghost. But people who commit suicide generally have strong material desires. And because their desires have been frustrated, they feel so disappointed, they commit suicide. So they're in a predicament because they have gross material desires, but they have no gross body through which to fulfill it. And therefore, ghosts try to possess the bodies of someone else, so they can try to fulfill their gross desires through the senses of the person whose body they possess. So, oh yeah, another situation that can cause a person to take birth as a ghost is if he's very attached to his home. There are many castles in Europe that are haunted by ghosts because the resident of that castle was so attached to the castle that at the time of death, it thought of the castle. So one cannot take birth as a castle. That's not one of the 8,400,000 species of life. But one can take birth as a ghost in that castle. And therefore, there are many castles and palaces that are haunted by their previous residents. But we can dispel ghosts by chanting the holy names. And Srila Prabhupada said that we could buy haunted palaces to use as temples, and we can chant the holy names, and the ghosts will go away. And actually, by hearing the holy names, the ghosts can be freed from their ghostly existence. So it's beneficial for them and for us also. So, when a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. Ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temples, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. So Srila Rupa Goswami has composed a very nice verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which he says that devotees who desire bhukti and mukti. Bhukti means material enjoyment, and mukti means impersonal liberation. Persons who desire bhukti and mukti are like people haunted by ghosts. Because when one is haunted by a ghost, one desires things that one ordinarily wouldn't desire. Srila Prabhupada had one disciple named Bhavananda Prabhu, and he was massaging Srila Prabhupada, and he said, you know, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes I get horrible thoughts in my mind, and they're not me. You know, is it possible that some ghost is influencing my mind? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, it is possible. So Srila Rupa Goswami composed this beautiful verse, Bhukti Mukti Spriha Yavat, that one who desires bhukti or mukti is like someone haunted by a ghost. Because as spirit souls, Jive Swarupai Krishna or Nityadas, we are eternal servants of Krishna. That's our natural position and our happy situation. And so if we desire anything other than the service of Krishna, such as bhukti or mukti, we're like a person haunted by a ghost. We're experiencing desires that aren't really us. They're actually foreign to us. Just like someone haunted by a ghost may have thoughts or desires that are foreign to him, just the influence of the ghost. So the Lord never accepts any offerings by such impure ghosts, in other words, non-devotees. Now, Srila Prabhupada goes on to the next point. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. So in this analogy, the dog is the devotee, and the object of our love is Krishna. But we cannot go to Krishna directly. First, we must approach his devotee. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement, reception of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, who has also served another pure devotee. That is the way of pure disciplic succession, or devotional parampara. So the Sanskrit is Bhagavat Angri Renu, the dust of the feet of a pure devotee. Maharaj Rahugana inquired from the great saint Jad Bharat as to how he had attained such a liberated stage of a Paramahamsa. And in answer, the great saint replied as follows. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:12. Rahuganai tapasa nayati na che jaya nirvapana grihadva na chandasanai vajalagni suryai Vina Mahatpadarajo Bhishekam. O King Rahugana, the perfectional stage of devotional service, or the Paramahansa stage of life, cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. And that phrase, the dust of the feet of great devotees, is in italics for emphasis by Srila Prabhupada. It is never attained by tapasya, austerity, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penances in the hot sun, within cold water, or before the blazing fire. So the exact words in this verse are Mahat. Mahat means great devotee, Mahatma, Mahat. Pada Rajo. Pada means foot and Raja means dust. And Abhishekam. In other words, Abhishek means like a bathing ceremony. And so Judd Bard is saying that one can achieve the perfectional stage of life only if he bathes himself in the dust of the feet of the pure devotee. And there are many other verses like that. When Hiranyakashipu asked his son Prahlad how he had become Krishna conscious, Prahlad replied that one cannot become Krishna conscious by one's own efforts, by the efforts of others, or by the combined efforts of oneself and others. So it seems like all logical possibilities have been eliminated. But then Prahlad says, Naishamatis tavad arupramangrim sprishat yanartha pagamo yadartha Mahiya Shanpada Rajobhishekam is Kinchana Namna Vrinityavat, that one can come to Krishna consciousness only by bathing oneself in the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. And indirectly, he was telling his father, you don't need to worry about becoming Krishna conscious, because you're too proud. You'll never bow down to the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So you don't have to worry about becoming Krishna conscious. So this is the process. Vina Mahat Pada Rajobhishekam Niskinchananam Napnitiyapat. But what does that mean? Of course, it could be taken literally, but generally, to take shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee means to follow the devotee's instructions. And by following the pure devotee's instructions, one can gain access to pure devotional service. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotees. And as such, only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya therefore designated himself as Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Das Anudasa, are the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord, who maintains the Gopi damsels at Vrindavan. And in the Adi Purana, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, those who claim to be my devotees are not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my devotees, they are actually my devotees. A pure devotee, therefore, never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servants. And thus the Lord becomes pleased. And only then can the devotee relish the taste of the tulsi leaves stuck to his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the supreme whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. So in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami enumerates qualities of Krishna, and one of his qualities is compassionate. But Srila Prabhupada explains that because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is difficult to approach him directly. But devotees take advantage of his compassionate nature, who is represented by Srimati Radharani, and they approach Srimati Radharani, and by her grace they can approach Sri Krishna. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees. And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. So now I would like to read a little quotation from Srila Prabhupada about Srimati Radharani. So Srila Prabhupada explains, we pray to Radharani because she is the pleasure potency of Krishna. Krishna means all attractive, but Radharani is so great that she attracts Krishna. So today, Radhashtami, We should try to understand the position of Srimati Radharani and offer our obeisances to her. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Hari Priya. Yeah. Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. Approaching Krishna becomes very easy when done through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani. If Radharani recommends this devotee is very nice, then Krishna immediately accepts us, however great a fool we may be. Because we have been recommended by Radharani, Krishna accepts us. Therefore, in Vrindavan, you'll find all the devotees chanting Radharani's name more than Krishna's. Wherever you'll go, you'll find the devotees are addressing one another with Jai Radhe. They're glorifying Radharani. They're more interested in worshiping Radharani than in worshiping Krishna. Because however fallen I may be, if some way or other I can please Radharani, then it will be very easy for me to understand Krishna. Otherwise, if you try to understand Krishna by the speculative process, it will take many, many lives. But if you take devotional service and just try to please Radharani, Krishna will be gotten very easily because Radharani can deliver Krishna. She is such a great devotee, the emblem of the Mahabhagavata, the greatest devotee. So that was taken from Srila Prabhupada's lecture on Radhashtami on August 29th, 1971 in London. There's also a nice verse glorifying Srimati Radharani by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhura Smitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradam Tatoma Manyasti Gatirna Kapi. I worship Sri Radharani, who has eyes like lotus flowers. I remember Sri Radha, who smiles so sweetly. I glorify Sri Radha, who is full of mercy. I have no destination but her. Stavavali, Shri Visakananabhida, Stotra 131. So, coming back to the purport, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotee. And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. Of course, as I mentioned, quoting Lord Chaitanya, Jive Swarupai, Krishna and Nityadas, The constitutional position of the living entity is he's the eternal servant of Krishna. And as stated by Lord Chaitanya in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai, that love for Krishna is eternally situated within the heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai. It is not something to be gained from another source, but Sudachite, when one's consciousness is purified by associating with good devotees, that original love, udai, it awakens. So this is the beautiful process of Krishna consciousness that Srila Prabhupada has given us. Of course, it's coming from Lord Krishna and from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through disciplic succession to us by Srila Prabhupada. It's a very beautiful process. And as the Bhagavad Gita says, that it's joyfully performed. It's easy and it's joyfully performed. Rajavidya, the king of knowledge. So yeah, we should realize how fortunate we are, and we should share our good fortune with others. And that very much pleases Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimati Radharani, and Lord Krishna, when we bring others to them. That is the mood of Srimati Radharani, to bring others to Krishna. She's not eager to arrange her own meetings with Krishna, but she's very eager to arrange for other gopis to meet with Krishna. So we should also be in that mood of bringing people to Krishna, and that will please Krishna and Srimati Radharani and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara. Hare Krishna. So I think at this stage we can see if any of the attendees have any questions or comments. Thank you for joining from all over the world. I guess if you have a question or comment, you can raise your hand. Krishna Leela Dasi raised her hand.
Please unmute Krishna Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to you, Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the nice class. I was just reflecting on the early part of the purport that you were mentioning about ghosts and the unfortunate situation that a soul can take when it gets a subtle body. I was wondering in this situation if devotees are affected by such kind of things, by other subtle living entities actually, and in their practice of devotional service, and they're not wanting or perhaps to address these issues. How can we help such persons in this situation? Yeah.
You mean if a devotee is possessed by a ghost?
Or is attached to subtle entities that may be plaguing them in they think it may be a fortunate situation.
Oh, well, as I mentioned, ghosts are dispelled by chanting. there was a history involving Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in which a ghost was, inhabiting a tree, but it was, causing problems for people. And in that case, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur read Srimad Bhagavatam under the tree, and then the tree cracked open and the ghost went away. So, yeah, I mean, but as far as a devotee thinking that a living entity, a subtle living entity is benign when it may actually be malevolent, I don't know. I don't know what, but I would suggest if they just read Srila Prabhupada's books and chant attentively, that should rectify everything. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the books can say things that we can't say. Sometimes, well, yeah, there was one case. I don't really need to explain the details of the context, but someone was speaking like a fool and a rascal, but I knew that if I said as much, whether in those words or otherwise, it wouldn't have had a good effect. And so I thought, well, let me give the person Srila Prabhupada's books, and Srila Prabhupada will call them a fool and a rascal. So, yeah, the books are very potent. So yeah, I mean, sometimes people aren't always receptive to good advice, but if you give them a book, they could get the best advice from Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara, and that can help them and correct them. Yes. Parama Karuna. Pahu Dvijana.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
For your auspicious association on this wonderful auspicious day.
Thank you. Can you speak a little louder? I mean, I can hear you, but it's faint.
Okay, I'll speak louder. Is this okay?
Better.
Okay. Maharaj, my question was also related to the aspect of the ghosts that you mentioned.
Yes.
And is it, since they don't have a gross material body and they don't have gross material senses in that sense, it's the transcendental nature of the sound vibrations of the chanting or hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam that impacts them and makes them pacified or go away. Is that the right understanding, Maharaj?
Yeah, it is. What really hears is the soul. And, the soul uses the body as an instrument, but it's actually the soul. Just like my eyeglasses, they don't see, I see, but I'm using the eyeglasses. So, so the transcendental sound goes to the soul, even if the ghost, by definition, doesn't have gross senses. And that living entity who's become a ghost gets a great benefit from the transcendental vibration. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions or comments?
Maharaj, we have Rohini Kishore Prabhu. Would like to ask a question. He has his hands raised.
Okay.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the wonderful narration that you did. This is just, it's not a question, it's just an appreciation. We wanted to say a very happy Vyas Puja celebrations, Maharaj. So, recently there was a celebration held online, and we were very amazed to hear so many wonderful qualities possessed by Vaishnavas, especially Srila Prabhupada's disciples like you. And we feel ourselves very fortunate to be part of the mission when we are hearing from you. So thank you so much. And please, whenever possible, do come back to Portland when the situation neutralizes so that we can get your darshan as well in person. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. We have Krisangi Mataji who are hands raised.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for the wonderful class. My question is, you mentioned about the desire for bhukti and mukti are like two reaches. And what kind of mukti does that refer to? Because there are different kinds of muktis. And how do we get free? Because it kind of can be very subtle desires. And sometimes even seeing the situation in the material world, devotees might want to, get the desire to be liberated. So I'd like if you can please elaborate on that.
That's a very good question. Well, mukti in that context would refer primarily to impersonal liberation. But a pure devotee does not desire any kind of liberation. The third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam discusses devotional service influenced by different modes. And Srila Prabhupada has beautifully paraphrased that section of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he says that a devotee influenced by the mode of ignorance thinks, I'm the only devotee around here. Everyone else is nonsense. I'm the only real devotee. And a devotee influenced by the mode of passion thinks, I want to be known as being the best devotee. And a devotee influenced by the mode of goodness thinks, I want to go back home, back to Godhead. And a devotee who's transcendentally situated thinks, I just want to serve Krishna and please Krishna. He doesn't desire even liberation. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mama Janmani Janmani Shori Bhavatad Bhaktir Hai. I just want to serve you birth after birth. So, yeah. Once I asked, this was after Srila Prabhupada left, but I asked a senior devotee, how does one overcome the desire to merge and become one with God? And he said, when you realize it's impossible, then you can give up the desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we have a devotee who would like to ask this anonymously. Can I ask her question, Maharaj?
You could, but why anonymous?
I'm not sure. She said she's feeling shy.
Okay.
So, with your permission, Maharaj, she is asking, what things throughout your day or devotee's day reminds you of Srimati Radharani? Like Krishna says, I am this, I am that. What day-to-day things remind you of Radharani? That's it.
Well, this isn't every day, but Srila Prabhupada said that when it rains, we should think that the gopis are crying tears in separation from Krishna. But like I just read that verse by Raghunath Das Goswami, Bhajami Radha. So he's saying that her, so the lotus flower can remind us of Radharani, and the moon can remind us of Srimati Radharani. She's an ocean of mercy. So the ocean can remind us of Srimati Radharani. She has green eyes. So the color green can remind us of Srimati Radharani. She has a complexion of molten gold. So gold can remind us of Srimati Radharani. So there are ample opportunities to be reminded of Srimati Radharani in our daily life. I mean, that's good, if you have like gold bangles. I don't know if this is coming from a woman or not, but if you have gold bangles, that's Radharani's complexion is like molten gold.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, for that wonderful answer. Maharaj, we have another Mataji raised her hand. Varshi Bhanavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. What should our mood of prayer be today on Radhashtami?
Well, I think that's a very individual question. I mean, we want to pray for Radharani's mercy, of course. And one prayer would be for her to accept us as her servant or engage us in her service. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a prayer. Oh, Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. And besides that, whatever, can ask her to free you from anarthas. Whatever you want. To be, I'm making this up. I'm not suggesting it applies to you, but pray to be able to get up earlier in the morning. But the ultimate prayer is to love Krishna. Pray to develop love for Krishna and for her to help you in whatever way is necessary for you to achieve that goal of love for Krishna.
Thank you.
Hi Krishna Maharaj, my name is Premarupa Madhavi Devidasi. Thank you so much for your lecture. It's the first time I'm getting to hear from you personally. We were at LA when you had come for Snani Yatra last year. He got initiated. But then during your class, we had to go catch the flight, so we missed that. But we know wonderful disciples of yours like Kalpataru Mataji personally, and also Sri Murti Mataji, who had just come along with you after serving your deity. So we've heard so much about you. So it's so nice. So, well, we feel like personally associating with you. So thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you. Good.
And I'm super eager for your book, Albulio Temple. I just can't wait.
Yeah, it should be coming soon. I mean, we sent it to the printer.
Yeah.
It's being printed by the BBT in Bombay.
Jai.
And His Holiness Devamrita Swami said it'll take about 2 months to print. And then it will be shipped from Mumbai to Los Angeles.
Jai. It's full circle that it's being printed in Mumbai itself. So
Yeah, perfect. The story of Bombay is being shipped from Bombay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Please accept our Koti Koti Pranam. Happy Radhashtami.
Thank you. Same to you.
I don't see any hands raised from Maharaj. So any devotees would like to ask any question, please do ask now. Just Chindan Prabhu.
We give chance to others.
Well, we can, if there are no more questions or comments, we can end with Vaishnav Pranam. Or Srila Prabhupada used to sing this on Radhashtami, Rupa Goswami's beautiful song, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate. So why don't we sing that?
Thank you, Maharaj.
I know it by heart, but I'd like to look at the synonyms so the meaning goes more deep. This is called Shiradika Stava from Stavamala.
Maharaj, should we display it?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you do the needful?
I do think we'll have to keep the devotees on mute because there's a little delay. And so our singing here won't be in sync with your singing there. But yeah, you can display it. And Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipin neshe Vardhana veshe Hari nishkuta vrinda viti neshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Vishavanu Dadi Navashashi Lekhe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishake Vishavanu Dadi Navashashi Lekhe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Karunam Kuru Mai Karuna Barite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karunam Kuru Mai Karuna Barite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Hare Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Hare Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite O Radha, O Madhava's beloved, O you whom all the young girls of Gokul worship, all glories to you, all glories to you. O you who dress yourself so as to make Lord Damodar's love, to make Lord Damodar love you more and more. O Queen of Lord Hari's pleasure grove, Vrindavan. O new moon arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu. O friend of Lalita, O you whose virtues delight Vishaka, O most merciful goddess, O you whose divine qualities are sung by Sanak and Sanatan Kumars, O most merciful Radha, please have mercy on me. I see it's a little different translation, very little. All right, well, that was nice.
Thank you very, very much, Maharaj, for extending yourself to your small congregation. We're very happy to see all the wonderful devotees around the world who are also appreciating your instructions and your presence. I know it's been a very long day for you with outreaches to many different devotees throughout the world. I was asking my aunt Kalpataru, Mataji Bharti, and she said something that I've seen very much in both your instructions through your books as well as your lectures, and your personal mannerism. She said Maharaj very much imbibes the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant. He's always ready to extend himself to anyone and everyone. And I've seen that personally when I was in San Diego, and first time I met you was in, I think, 2009. You were at ISKCON San Diego for Sri Ram Navami. We spent hours and hours just very genuinely and very compassionately with the devotees, just getting to know them. So personal. That's really wonderful. Your example of extending yourself in a very personal manner for the unique situation of each devotee. It's very, very wonderful. Reminds us of how Srila Prabhupada, although he did so much management, from what I understand from senior devotees, Srila Prabhupada spent the vast majority of his time compassionately taking care of devotees, to devotees like yourself. So thank you very much, Maharaj. I don't want to keep you waiting a whole lot longer given the time. So also want to thank all the devotees from around the world. Hope you all had a wonderful Radhashtami celebration. One last request, Maharaj, if I may, is if you could extend yourself. We have a very nice devotee whose birthday is today as well. It's none other than Narottam Vilas Prabhu, who's been hosting the website for us. It's his 30th birthday. If you can please speak something that will enthuse him and give him more determination. He already has a lot of that, but I'm sure he'd be very happy to receive your merciful glance and your blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think of another verse from this same section of Srimad Bhagavatam, that by rising and setting, both by rising and setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except those who utilize the time for discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. So, as Srila Prabhupada used to say, being 30 years old means you've died 30 years out of your duration of life. But yes, if you utilize the time to discuss topics of the all-good personality of Godhead, then you'll never die. You'll just attain your eternal life. Hare Krishna. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, for extending all this time and doing your long day. Very much appreciated. If you ever feel like you have availability to speak to us again, I know devotees here would love to hear from you.
Okay.
One of the incredible realizations, instructions from Srila Prabhupada. Whenever there's festival, I always read a lecture by you because I know it'll be filled with very sweet instructions from Srila Prabhupada. Like I read your lecture from Lord Nityananda, Parents' Day, where you said, to receive the mercy of Lord Krishna, you have to go through Srimati Radharani. If you want to go through Srimati Radharani, you have to go through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you want to go through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to go through Lord Nityananda. If you want to receive mercy of Lord Nityananda, you have to go to Jagai Madai. Just incredible sweet realizations that you've had from your deep interaction with Srila Prabhupada. I could go on and on, but I think devotees would rather hear you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we can conclude by offering Vaishnava Pranam. I think that would be appropriate. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpa trubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimati Radharani Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Gaur Premanandi. Thank you all.